Hey everybody, it's PartyElite, and today we're checking out News Cycle, a game whose demo I was able to play during the Steam Base Builder Fest, and one that I grew immediately intrigued by because of how it blends ideas from the likes of Surviving the Aftermath and Endzone and, yes, Frostpunk. And I know, you've heard so many comparisons to Frostpunk over the last several years, including, yes, from this channel itself. But truth be told, News Cycle does seem to be trying to capture that lightning in a bottle in its own unique way that, again, intrigued me quite a bit. Now, if you like what you see here today, folks, please don't hesitate to add the game to your wishlist. It's a great way to support independent developers, and it's a great way to stay up to date with the dev cycle of a game as well. This one in particular is releasing into early access, I believe, sometime over the course of Q1 of 2023, and again, having it on your wishlist is a great way to stay up to date with it, whether you want to grab it during early access or afterwards during its 1.0 release or whatever it might be. With that said, if you like games like this, folks, and you want to see more of them in your life, you might want to consider subscribing to this channel as well, since highlighting them is a big part of what I try to do around these parts. With that said, and with no more time to waste, let's go ahead and hit that new game button. And let's keep in mind that this is a demo build, so there will be some limitations, and there might be a couple of issues here and there that, will be taken care of over the course of development. Right off the bat, I want to let you know that the demo only has the sandbox game mode available to us. We cannot play the narrative, story-driven campaign, nor can we play the New Game Plus sounding Sanity and Old Ways modes. These guys sound kind of interesting. You can see how they're described on screen, but they both seem to be about having access to more advanced settlements to begin with, and either defending them against internal strife or defending them against both internal and external threats alike. Nonetheless, for this demo and for this short playthrough, we can only check out the sandbox mode, which is a peaceful mode without outside threats or constant changes to environmental conditions. All the components of city building and survival are active, but end game challenges are absent. So at least we know what we're not able to experience, and we can kind of get a bit of an idea as to what the plans are for some of these other game modes. Nonetheless, as we head on into the sandbox mode over here, you'll see that we have the option of a few different biome types as well. Well, rather, we don't have the option right now in this demo, but we will in the future, and each of these biomes actually has a variety of sort of buffs and debuffs and conditions that you'll have to consider depending on what kind of a challenge you're looking for. Don't just look at the bit that's highlighted in yellow at the bottom. The descriptive text actually lets you know how you'll be dealing with more or less space, or the kinds of resources you'll have more or less access to, or how the seasonal changes might impact your playthrough as well. So really good stuff over here. I'm quite intrigued by, again, the level of variety, and just to let you know again, for the demo, we can only pick the meadow. Home to open stretches of land and fertile soil, this biome transitions relatively smoothly between seasons. Though not overly challenging in terms of food and water, underground resources are somewhat scarce. It gives us a plus 40 to morale at the start of spring. With that said, let's go ahead and pick the meadow, and let's start our game. Alright, a pretty beautiful spring day to kick things off in our first year of surviving this unfortunate situation we find ourselves in. But to learn a bit more about said unfortunate situation, let's take a look at this message from the community. Welcome to News Cycle. You are now the governor of this little community. It's been nearly half a century since the first solar flare. In the initial moments of the catastrophe, we lost our entire technological infrastructure, our means for global sourcing, and almost everything that we can share as a civilization. The following years were humanity's darkest, having to wrestle with constant impossibility and despair. From battles fought with sticks and stones to nuclear wars, we ended up destroying ourselves what little the sun had left for us. And civilization fell. Everyone here was born into this new world, and you have to be their leader. Our current flimsy shelter can't carry us far. We must rebuild everything from scratch with the efforts of those who remain, so we can establish a sustainable way of life. We need to rediscover our lost knowledge and explore our surroundings to create new possibilities. Most importantly, beyond merely surviving, we have to find a way of securing our next generation, by whose time the world may not be habitable anymore. We don't know how we can preserve life as we know it, but we can at least help build something that we may call home. So, just a bit of mood setting to let us know what went down and why our society is so far behind what one might expect it to be. Solar flares have taken down all aspects of communication, have destroyed a bunch of technology, and so we kind of have to reinvent the wheel, so to speak, in a variety of ways, and it's a good setup for a very dour set of circumstances. With that said, we're going to go ahead and continue without the tutorial because I'm somewhat familiar with the game's mechanics. I played the demo a little bit before, so I was familiar with how things worked, but I didn't want to get too far into it because I still want to be surprised by, whatever it might have in its back pocket. So let's continue without the tutorial, and the first order of business is actually going to be to properly name our camp. Let's go ahead and call it Camp Party, because why not? And as we open this screen, you can immediately see how there is actually quite a bit of consideration here with regards to our progression. We can see our various elements that we can keep a track of between our population overview, the currently active effects, and available actions as well, various policies that we'd be able to pass to maybe make adjustments to how things are approached. So this is very interesting to see. Oh, I just activated mandatory break. It's on cooldown. It's fine. You know what? Life is crumbling. Having a bit of a break to kick things off isn't the worst possible thing. But it's pretty cool to see how, we have some options over here that apply across our entire camp. We also have options for laws and rules, diplomacy, and outposts that we come across when we go and explore the greater world around us. So, like I said, it's got some vibes from the likes of, Frostpunk. It's got some vibes from the likes of Surviving the Aftermath, so on and so forth. But beyond everything you see here, if we actually go further into this screen, you'll see the 4 eras that the game actually spans across. We're in Era 1 right now, and it looks like the demo only allows us to go up to Era 2, but the game itself in its entirety will go all the way up to Era 4, which is clearly an industrialized society. The thresholds to go from era to era seem to be your accumulation of workers and your accumulation of knowledge as well. And your population generates knowledge on a per day basis, so the more quickly you're able to grow, the more quickly you're able to acquire knowledge. You then use that knowledge to research technologies and stuff as well, but also to go from era to era. You'll also see on the screen the vast variety of resource types there are in this game, and stuff like this really excites me when it comes to a game like this. I love this kind of variety. I love the the production chains that you have to manage and all that kind of cool stuff, and I love seeing fresh ideas as well. So really excited to explore all this kind of good stuff over here at Camp Party. Now, with the name out of the way and with everybody on a mandatory break, misclick, that might cost me some lives, maybe, or at least some hungry bellies, maybe. Let's go ahead and establish our first field camp over here to seek out logs and stone and iron and more. Let's go ahead and place this first thing down over here. I think that should be okay. And once it gets built, we'll be able to actually assign workers to it to go ahead and gather those various resources. It looks like construction might actually be progressing despite that mandatory break order. People are in fact bringing materials over for the construction process, so that's all well and good. And as that's happening, we can separately go ahead and get the gathering camp set up as well. These guys bring in things like mushroom and meat, both of which are highlighted in this radius, so that's great to see. And what's interesting to note as well is that the availability and scarcity of these resources is also at least partly influenced by the seasons. So, for example, a particularly good rainfall, let's say, might result in a better harvest of mushrooms in the following season or what have you. So, very interesting to see how that's all intertwined, but for the time being, yes, let's put the gathering camp down and let's work to gather some mushrooms at the very least, as over here, this field camp is going to, yes, chase after wood and stone, the basic building blocks. Later on, we'll have access to iron miners and field workers based on technology that we unlock as well. On which note, why don't we take a look at the tech trees over here? These guys are actually a lot more expansive than they look at first. I mean, it just looks like a handful of options over here with some prerequisites, but you'll notice across the top we actually have 4 different categories of tech trees, one of which is actually unknown. So we don't know what this category is, but we know it exists for the final build of the game, maybe for the early access build, not 100% sure. What's more, rather than just having these technologies dependent on prerequisites, earlier, further down the tree, or earlier in the tree, however you want to phrase it, sometimes these technologies actually have prerequisites from other trees. So, for example, hunting here needs us to have metalworking techniques as well as establishment. Establishment is something we have in the same tech tree, but metalworking techniques is under construction and materials located over here. But metalworking techniques requires basic construction and oath. This here is basic construction, and it's actually something we're going to research right away because we want those soup kitchens and simple meals, so let's get that party started. But at the same time, you'll notice that Oath is under community and diplomacy. So as you can see, the tech tree might look a little simple at first glance, but there's a bit more intertwining going on, and it's a bit more of an involved process, which I quite like. Separately as well, I just want to note that up over here you can see how the community generates knowledge. It's on a per day basis, and it's generated by our population, split based on the class that they come from. Now, population classes determine quite a few things. If we take a look over here, you'll see for the time being we have only workers in our society. We have 35 of them, and currently 29 of them are free to do as they need, I suppose. They'll do construction work, they'll do labor work, they'll carry stuff around, but if we assign people to specific tasks, then they get focused on those tasks alone. So just to clarify the difference in number over here. But yes, we have a worker class, we have a craftsman class, and we have a specialist class. One can assume they have slightly different requirements. One can assume they have slightly different capabilities as well with regards to, you know, which jobs they can take on and what they can help produce or otherwise do. But separately as well, they each have morale. And I really like this aspect. Morale is determined by a variety of things, including their access to food, water, tools, clothes, and things like entertainment, health, their sense of security. And what's really neat here is, well, a couple things. For one, morale has a direct impact on their efficiency. And I believe workforce over here is also a representation of how efficiently buildings work that have that class of worker working at them. But beyond that as well, morale is impacted, of course, by the availability of these goods and also their distribution. You can see over here the distribution of water, which is one of the only resources we're collecting at the moment. The distribution of it is low. I can click in here and I can say, no, let's change that to regular distribution, regular rations, maybe extra rations, double rations, or maybe we have to keep it low because consumption is, outpacing our actual production. And the little number you see over here, the 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, that is the impact it'll have on morale. So why don't we go ahead and chase after more water, because I'm pretty sure that at our current rate of production versus consumption, we'll be running out extremely quickly, especially because we're not actually producing any. So let's go ahead and seek out a position for a well. Now, you'll see we've immediately transitioned into the water layer. There's the wind layer, there's the mining layer, there's a fertility layer, and a drilling layer as well. So quite a few overlays for us to take a look at to consider where things get built. But obviously right now, since we're building a well, we want to look at the water layer, and we want to try and find where our efficiency over here, or our resource availability, is at its highest. And it looks like we have a sweet spot right over here, actually. So why don't we go ahead and place the well down over, where? We can't place it right at the road, eh? Not having road access is not the end of the world, but it does reduce efficiency. So why don't we go ahead and place this down over here? We'll go ahead and connect this shortly. It's a bit of a bummer that it's a little offset, but we'll be fine, as our first piece of technology has been researched. So as you can see, it's not just a matter of accumulating knowledge, you also have to invest time into actually unlocking what you're researching. And since we'll want to chase after metalworking techniques sooner rather than later, we'll go ahead and chase after Oath over here, which also allows us to build shacks. Now, it looks like we actually don't have enough knowledge just quite yet, nor do we have one of the resources we need to get this technology going. So let's hold off on that, and let's check out production and build a lumber mill. So lumber mills will produce either lumber or paper based on what we assign it to do, but ultimately, right now at least, we need lumber so that we can build a soup kitchen, and we can research that technology we were just looking at as well. So let's go ahead and put down a lumber mill over where? I mean, we're collecting logs over here at this building, so let's put the lumber mill down over here. It fits quite nicely, and I do believe lumber is what we need to build roads as well. I assume that's like needed to mark the path and stuff, because I can't really otherwise figure out why you would use lumber to build a dusty road especially. But nonetheless, that's the prerequisite, so we'll want to get that as soon as possible. And up over here, let's start collecting some mushrooms, please. And if we take a look at our screen over here, you can see now we can actually adjust the distribution of food as well. Eventually, tools, clothes, etc., will have the same options available to them, but for the time being, it's just food and water. How is our water situation looking? producing 15 a day. That's not nearly enough, but that is obviously limited because of the lack of a road connection. So as soon as we have enough lumber, we'll want to get that road connection made, and that'll improve our workforce number over here, which will in turn improve how much water is actually being produced per day. So I'm seeing 84 per day over here, and up over here I'm seeing 45 a day. That tells me that it takes some time for a change to register. That's perfectly fine by me, but I just want to make sure that the number actually reflects our reality, and then we can go ahead and take a look at the distribution screen once more to again get a better understanding of exactly how that works, because it is something that I'm quite intrigued by, that I find quite interesting. So I do believe we are catching up over here. Let's speed time up a little bit, and let's go ahead and make sure you are producing lumber, and let's get 5 workers assigned. And of course, as we do that, you'll see that we have fewer and fewer free workers out of the 35 that currently reside in our settlement. Over time, things like immigration will, of course, add to our population, so we'll have more workers to work with, but for the time being, we just have to be careful that the right people are working the right jobs, as I do believe now we have enough lumber to at least build a dusty road that takes us down to here. Excellent. Instantly built. It'll just take a moment for that to turn up to 100. We're at double time, so it happened a lot more quickly than otherwise, and we're already up to 120 water a day. So if you look up over here, this is at 75 a day. It'll take some time for it to creep up, but that's enough for me to flip over to our population management screen to take a look at the worker class and to make sure that they are actually getting a medium amount of water per day. And when we make this change, you'll see a couple things. Over here, we've got our realized morale, and over here we have our targeted morale. So you'll see what we're actually getting versus what we're aiming to get once we've actually gone through a couple of days perhaps of proper distribution at that new distribution level. So it's not an instant switch that you're flipping. It actually takes some time for this stuff to take effect, and eventually you'll see their overall morale go higher, and that should ultimately result in a higher rate of efficiency and a modifier to the workforce number, which again, from my understanding, ties into this number over here, which ultimately ties into this number over here for all of these buildings. They got a workforce number and they have a production output number as well, right? So I'm very curious to see how that actually works out, and it's not something I've delved into too deeply just quite yet. But let's go ahead and set up a soup kitchen so that the mushrooms can actually be turned into something a bit more nourishing, right? Because you want to take care of people's health. You want to make sure they don't end up malnourished or anything like that. Let's get the soup kitchen placed right over here. I think it's next to the to where the mushrooms are being collected, so I think that's all well and good. And it's close enough to where the water is being collected as well. And we do, yes, need both to produce soup. So let's get that settled, and let's go ahead and take a look at our knowledge tree again. Ooh, I like that, knowledge tree as opposed to technology tree. I like that quite a bit. And let's see if we can't get oath. We actually... Can we? No, we can't. We need 22 lumber. All right, fair enough. Speed time up a little bit, and let's try and collect some lumber. Obviously, we're using some to build the soup kitchen, which I do think is a bit of a priority. We want to make sure people are properly fed, but after that's done, yes, we'll go ahead and chase after shacks, because yeah, having shelter is also quite important. But as you can see over here at the soup kitchen, we are able to choose between different, I'm assuming, qualities of meals. We're going to go ahead and produce simple meals here, and then further still, we can choose different recipes. I love this. I love the variety of the choice that there is over here. At the end of the day, they're all simple meals, but, you know, did you have the good fortune of coming across mushrooms and water? Do you only have access to meat? Do you not want to waste water here? So on and so forth. I quite like this, but mushroom and water is what we have, so we'll have a mushroom soup on hand. And of course, we'll need to assign some workers here as well. So let's get these 3 workers here. We still have 18 able to do a variety of tasks. And as soon as we research oath, we should be able to build shacks for everyone too. We've got 420 knowledge, which is a good amount to have. Let's go ahead and spend some of it on oath. And again, it'll take some time. 30 hours to get the research done. Time moves on, and hopefully we'll have some shacks built up soon. If we take a look at our production options over here, we've got a lumber mill, a soup kitchen. We take a look at utilities. We can build stockpiles now as well to help hold on to more resources if we feel it's necessary. Further on, we can build windmills, scouts guilds to actually explore the world map, and the technical boot camp, which will allow us to train craftsmen and specialists who are then in turn needed for other kinds of workforces. Again, just as a reminder, if we take a look at our era progression, As we move further and further along, we will unlock access to new resources, new buildings, and new technologies alike. So we go from kind of a hunter-gatherer-esque society, or like a society that's only just started to settle down post-hunter-gatherer, I guess, to, you know, maybe an agrarian society. We'll have like farms and stuff, to ultimately an industrialized society. So very, very intrigued by that angle, and I'm very curious to see how that progression actually plays out. But our soup kitchen is operational. We've got food coming through. Production is 0 a day for simple meals, but we got plenty of mushrooms. Hopefully, as all this stuff registers, we'll have 24 a day coming through. Will that be enough? Yes, consumption right now is 7 a day, so we should be fine, as technology has been researched and we now have access to shacks. So where do I want to actually place these shacks? If we zoom out a little bit, the map is actually quite large. Let's take a look at the water layer. All right, there's some water available there, some water there, some water here. The wind layer. All right, I assume this will be necessary for like windmills and stuff, right? So maybe some power generation opportunities down over here and up over here. I recall there being a mining hotspot over here, so we want to keep that in mind. And honestly, it looks like this is a good blank space for us to place housing down. So let's hold on and get to the default layer there, because I left ourselves in a black void for a moment. And let's place, yeah, a couple of shacks down. Now, the shack is able to house how many people? Up to 10. We have 35, so we'll have to build 4 shacks. Let's get that done. Right next to the soup kitchen is not a bad place to live. Your meal is right next door, so let's go ahead with, what do we want to do? How do I line this up nicely here? Just want to make sure this is as clean as I can make it. 1. Can I not queue them up? 2, there we go. 3, 4. Just got to hold shift. So make sure everyone's got a home. I'm pretty sure we have enough resources to get it done. And let's get the dusty road set as well shortly after we get enough lumber here. What's going on over here? You guys okay? Yeah, you guys are okay. I guess we're using a lot of that lumber right now to build these 4 shacks all at the same time. That's fine. What's the simple meal situation? Production's looking great, so why don't we head on over to our population management and get food distribution up to medium as well. And you can see morale has come up to 13 since we improved the distribution of water. And let's actually take a look at that. We're producing 105 a day, we're consuming 88 a day, so maybe water distribution can go up to regular, and we'll see a slightly higher morale as a result of that. And you can kind of see the predicted morale over here based on our current distribution policies, right? And as you can see here, new rules will take effect from the next day onwards. Otherwise, if we see here, bad morale is from 0 to 24. So if we can get ourselves past 24, we'll get to regular morale, which will improve our efficiency, take us from 20% efficiency to 40% efficiency. And then, if I understand it correctly, that should feed right back into our productivity, which would then allow us to increase our distribution, right? So it's sort of a self-fulfilling prophecy kind of a thing. Sturdy roofs. We need suitable shelters. I don't disagree. Every one of us needs proper places to live. We have food and water, but sleeping at whatever nooks we find each night does not help prepare us for the next day's labor. We need suitable shelters that can protect us from unpredictable weather. Build 3 shacks is the request? Yes, let's build. Again, you know, we have these like event-driven moments. Hopefully they'll have more moral dilemmas in the game, perhaps in the demo itself as well. But for this, yes, let's build a few shacks, shall we? We already have some commissioned. We have 5 days to get this objective taken care of, and we're making progress already, so shouldn't be too much trouble there. And apart from that, let's take a look at what other knowledge we should seek. I'm thinking we're going to want like tools and stuff pretty soon, and for that we would need a smith to produce basic tools. We'd also need metalworking techniques. We'd also actually need metal itself, so I assume the forge is going to help us, you know, purify and cast, yes, iron and copper both. So why don't we go ahead and research metalworking techniques next. Over to our tech tree, or our knowledge tree, and over to metalworking techniques. Let's get the party, nope, can't do it, because we don't have enough lumber, timber, I forget what it actually calls it, but we don't have enough resources. After that's done, though, I will want to try surveillance here, so we can get a scouts guild built, so we can actually explore the world map. But as you can see over here, this actually needs tools. So very well, we do need metalworking techniques before we can go down that route. Cool. Again, you can see how the prerequisites as far as the knowledge tree are concerned
goes beyond just technologies even. It includes resources, and so you'll have to look around and make sure you're covering all your bases to make progress how you want to make progress. As you can see over here, a group of foreign people has been detected. Refugees. A flock of refugees, 8 workers, appeared near the edge of our settlement. This group of wanderers, each more unfortunate than us, awaits permission to join our ranks. The more our settlement grows, the more attention we'll get from passers-by, and the more people will be willing to join us in terms of both frequency and numbers. Although we are open to everyone who accepts our oath, we may not be able to provide every newcomer with food. So again, we of course have our limitations, right? I think we'll be okay, so let's go ahead and accept these 8 extra workers and see what it does for us. But you can see over here, our population has grown, so as we continue to build more and more stuff, we'll have some more support over here as our morale has hit 24. So we're still just on the cusp of regular morale. Do we increase the distribution of our simple meals? Production is very low, consumption is quite high. I suppose I could build another soup kitchen, though the plan here was to get roads going down there and there. I suppose I could build a soup kitchen on the far end as well, I guess. Nonetheless, let's speed time up ever so slightly, just so productivity stays up. And my thinking here is that eventually, you know, if morale goes up, then efficiency goes up, and output goes up as well, right? So I wonder about the balance there. But remember, it's not just about promising increased distribution. You actually have to hit that goal. If we don't hit our targeted distribution amount, for example, 22 meals a day with a medium distribution of simple meals, we won't actually hit our targeted morale, and the realized morale will remain below that target. So I just want to point that out. It's not just a matter of saying we'll give them more food, you actually have to give them more food. But you can see that having housing for 50% of our population is giving a bit of a morale boost as well. So if we can increase that to just under 100%, will we be okay? Because again, we're building 4 houses, that's for 40 people, but we actually have 43, right? So that might not work out perfectly. We'll see exactly what happens. We've got our 3rd one built. Is that enough for a bit of a boost? Let's take a look over here. Still at 50%, eh? I was hoping that we'd be at I guess we're still at 50%. All right, fair enough. Let's get the 4th one done, and let's see if being above 80% has an impact for us. Meanwhile, water is looking kind of tight. Mushrooms are no longer being produced because they're all being converted into simple meals. Simple meals are actually being produced at an okay rate. All right, fair enough. And you can see a bit of a bump to our morale over there has been noted because, wow, would you look at that? 90% of our population has housing. So we are now at 27 morale, which means it's regular. So that means our efficiency is up to 40. And if we take a look over here, 40 efficiency, this is up to 26 a day. I do believe that was a significantly lower number previously, so that's promising. And I assume, yeah, the same applies to our soup kitchens and everything. So again, it's a give and take kind of a situation, and I love it. I think that's a very clever way to intertwine the availability of goods, your capability to process those goods, and the capability of your people, or rather the willingness of your people to actually work and feed back into your society. I think it's a very kind of nice, poetic almost approach. Let's go ahead and get these roads down, because I do believe these guys won't have access to services and stuff if they don't have road access. Truth be told, though, I don't know if road access has any other impacts. Let's go ahead and get the dusty road down there, and let's go ahead and get the dusty road up over here. Down the line, I'll see if anything fits over there so that it's not this ugly, hideous gap. Maybe a windmill or something, we'll see. But for the time being, let's go ahead and research our metalworking techniques. That'll take a handful of hours, and we'll see if we can't go chasing after, as I said, the surveillance technology as well, so we can get those scout skills going, right? Cool. Feeling pretty good. What's the issue over here? Lack of recipe. Oh, are we out of mushrooms already? Let's take a look at our gathering camp, and it looks like we don't have any mushrooms. There's plenty of meat. Are there mushrooms available anywhere else? Let's go ahead and place a gathering camp. Oh yeah, plenty of mushrooms over here. So can I put one down over here? No. Perhaps on the other side of this road then? Sure. We'll have access to quite a few mushrooms, not all of them. Maybe down over here? Yeah, it's a better reach, isn't it? Fine, let's go ahead and do that. And these guys will be able to gather more mushrooms. Meat can be gathered as long as we have hunting. Hunting requires metalworking techniques, so we're working on that right now. And once we get hunting, we'll have access to meat and fish and leather. So more to come than just food, right? And I'm sure leather and stuff will be processed into clothes to keep people warm, etc., etc. Lots of good stuff to take a look at. But for the time being, we're doing all that we can. Click for result info. So this is the result of, oh no, that's a separate pop-up. Wait for that to go away. Because the cause for celebration is us having built those houses that were being requested. Though it was hard, we excelled. It is a happy day for our house, as we are slowly leaving uncertainty behind. People are encouraged by success. If we can keep on like this, we may meet positive outcomes beyond what we expected. Okay, interesting. Didn't actually offer any at that junction, but good to know, I suppose. Let's focus on this gathering camp over here, because I don't want to go too long without producing, you know, our daily bread, so to speak. But let's take a look at resources over here. We now have access to, sorry, not resources, but production. We have access to a forge and to a smith, but these guys can't actually do anything without metal. Well, where do we get metal? From the field camp, who can now actually assign iron miners. Again, previously this was locked, but until we, well, when we got the technology, we got access to the iron miner. And you can see available resources listed right here. These are not infinite sources of resources. They have limits. Granted, these numbers are quite large, and that might be just because we're in the rather simple sandbox mode or the meadow biome, or maybe because it's the demo. But these numbers are quite large, and they should sustain us for quite a bit of time. Nonetheless, let's speed time up over here, as summer is about halfway done, it seems. And let's go ahead and assign some gatherers to our gathering camp over here as well. And maybe we should concern ourselves with hunting technology. We can't do that until we have some tools available, and the same applies, I believe, for surveillance as well, so that should be a priority. What about construction and materials? We need some iron. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Let's get to work on all that then. Let's go ahead and build a forge. Oh, it's a relatively small building. Pop you down over here, right next to where things are being gathered. So this kind of becomes our industrial zone. This becomes our residential zone. And then off in the distance, we'll have some mining up there, some mining down over here as well, I suppose. Gonna keep things as clean as we can without sacrificing efficiency, right? Let's pop you down over here. And let's go ahead and pop the smith down over here. That's a much larger building, isn't it? Pop you down here. Will you fit nicely? Stick out a little bit, don't you? Because of course you do. Alright, that's okay, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. I'm gonna pop you down over here, I suppose. Keep them next to each other. And eventually I'll put some roads down. I suppose we can afford the lumber. This guy actually needs iron ingots before it can be built. So we need the forge first. But yeah, let's go ahead and get the dusty road built down this way. Get these guys connected. And see what else awaits us. Looks like we're okay. Cool. How's food looking here? 36 produced today. Excellent. What's our next milestone as far as morale is concerned? 50, eh? We're about halfway there. We could increase the distribution of tools. Apparently not. Apparently low distribution of tools means... Oh, okay, sorry. I misread this. My apologies. I read this backwards. So here's a perfect example, actually. So we've assigned a low distribution of tools, which means we need 4 tools per day. The targeted morale from having that distribution level is 2, but since we aren't actually producing any tools, we aren't able to realize on that target. So we have an actual morale result of 0. Again, I like it. It's not just a matter of like what you want to do, it's a matter of actually being able to do it. Let's go ahead and produce some iron ingots over here, and hopefully those will get done at a decent enough rate for us to then produce the smith, who will then produce tools for us to use, right? That's all looking pretty good. Food's looking okay. Well, what's the situation over here? Tool supply is low. Yeah, I'm painfully aware of that. These guys are gathering mushrooms right now, so that should be all well and good. We have about 5,000 mushrooms available among the 1, 2, 3, 4, what should we call them? Growths? I can't think of a good word for it right now. But what about up over here? If I go ahead and set this down to 0, will this replenish? Will we have to wait for a specific season, or what's going to happen? What'll actually allow this to come back? Because from my understanding, it is a seasonal thing. What do we have up over here? All warehouses are almost full? Really? we have stockpiles available if we do need to build them, but over here, let's go ahead and start producing tools with 5 workers, and as that's happening, again, we have to consider distribution, but also new technologies, right, and how we want to make progress for things like hunting and so on. In fact, if I do go chasing after hunting first, we'll need 22 tools, and if I go chasing after surveillance first, we'll need 30, and 1,200 knowledge. Fair enough. What if I go ahead and chase after the power grid first? I'm sure that will make people happy. Though our methods are primitive, we have no chance of thriving unless we produce massive amounts of power with which to operate similarly massive machinery. This will cost 725 knowledge, which we'll get back in about 20 days' time. I'm just, I really want to get access to surveillance, but I think we can afford the power grid over here. Probably the right call. Probably helps with morale and stuff as well, just to have electricity, right? So that's fine by me, and we'll keep an eye out for more like foreigners and stuff coming around. Because again, in case you forgot, the population has a direct impact on our knowledge generation. It was previously at 35 and 35, but now we're at 43 and 43. I'm also curious if like specialists and stuff have different rates of knowledge generation, right? Meanwhile, up over here, an introduction to standards. We need stability. Chief, it seems like we've been able to It seems like we've been able to set things right since settling down. Our small settlement, built by toiling day and night, now needs some security and stability. We should at least make sure that we have left our days of hunger and thirst behind. Meet the food and water demands of the whole population for 3 days on regular distribution. I think we can manage this, maybe. Let's try it. Regular distribution of food and water is being requested. Let's try it out. Water was already at regular. Food will be at regular now as well. We need 43 a day, which we're not able to keep up with. But if I get another soup kitchen going, we should be okay. Why don't we go ahead and make some changes? Water is life. We need better access to it. Are we not okay? Oh crap! We are actually not okay. We are very much not okay. Let's go ahead and establish another well. Are we drained over here? Do we still have? No, we still have plenty of water available there, but we need more. We need much more. Get a well down. This isn't updating, eh? Oh, by the way, I should mention, you are able to use a free-form placement mode as opposed to a grid-based placement mode. So rather than being tied to the grid, you are able to, yeah, be free, which is kind of cool. It's a nice touch. Let's go ahead and place this down over here. I think I want to make sure we're lined up nicely. That should be okay for water production. Let's make sure we're putting a road down as well. Keep it all connected. There we go. These are different eras that we'd have access to, I suppose, down the line. But yes, let's get this well built so that water is taken care of. That warning actually helped a little bit. What happened there? I thought we were doing all right. But I guess not. Anything else consuming water? Nah, I think I just let it slip by. Nonetheless, we also need more simple meals being produced. So why don't we get rid of the road over here? If I can find our, like, demolish button. I'm sure it exists somewhere. Can I not? Ooh, this can also be built without the grid. Alright, surely there's a way to get rid of the road. I guess I must destroy it in its entirety. Fair enough, fair enough. Dusty road. Get you connected like that. And let's get you connected like that. And we'll get another soup kitchen set up over here. Where's my... First of all, why are you not connected? We have the... Oh, we missed a spot up there, I guess. What is going on? What is going on? Let's pause for a second. No, I can't even do that. I see the gap there, but... Oh, there we go. Is it built now? I gotta keep an eye on this, because these guys are not producing any water. Not connected to no road network. All warehouses are full, and a lack of a recipe. No available resource either. Well, that's strange. Why... It was blue. Alright, hang on a second. Let's go ahead and destroy you. Yes, confirm that. And let's go ahead and do a couple things. First of all, let's build a soup kitchen up over here so that food requirements are met at the very least. And let's go ahead and place a stockpile. Oh god, this is big. Place a stockpile over here, I suppose. Would have done things a bit differently in a different lifetime, I suppose. But sure, let's pop you down over here. for the time being. Under construction right now. We're okay. We're okay. Water's a little tight. Maybe I shouldn't have tried for this, but hey, we're here now. Though, oh, would you look at that? Objective successfully completed. All right, I'll take it. One more step. Chief, you've overcome this trial. It's a source of joy for everyone, though a small one. All right, cool. I'm glad the objective was met because it's time for medium distribution of both of these things. Cool. Separately, let's take a look at our options over here. 30 tools we need, eh? And you need 22. We're getting there. Slowly but surely, we're getting there. Production is really low, eh? 14 a day. Oh, it's just going to take some time for it to catch up and register up over here, I think. All right, fair enough. Now, the water situation. 30 a day. I guess production must have stopped because of our stockpiles being full. That kind of makes sense, I suppose. So maybe the soup kitchen was also unnecessary. But right now we have the stockpile over here. Let's make sure you are actually trying to store some water. Yes. Is that going to help? It looks like it already has. Do I need an additional well? No, I don't. All right, threw me right off, but maybe a better red flag system would have avoided that, but I'll take that on myself. I should have seen that we're supposed to have 120-day production per, or 120 a day production, and I should have realized something else was up. But nonetheless, we're okay, we're okay. Plus 20 morale to all classes thanks to our success with that previous objective, eh? That's cool. Let's get more food going. Yes, we do need more food going. So mushroom and water to make more soup. And up over here, this gathering camp is still not able to gather any additional mushrooms because they're not back yet as we enter fall of year 1. All right, very well, very well. The storage. We have plenty of room now thanks to the storage. Let's see how this plays out. Simple meals are okay. Water's okay. Actually. Here, why don't we go ahead and see if we can't build a well with actual guidance now. Yeah, still doesn't say anything. Oh, you know what? This is probably what happened. This well is taking all this water, I think. So why don't we go ahead and place this well somewhere up over here instead? Maybe like somewhere up there. Let's get this road built over here. Dusty road expanding from up over here. Go for it. Just to give me a bit of a reference, I suppose. Let's get a well built. Yeah, up over here. That should be okay. That should have us covered for the time being. And what's this? Iron limbs. We need more. I assume that has to do with tools. Chief, since we can now process metals, you can give us the means to produce durable and effective tools of our own creation so that we can see to our daily tasks. Work can be done without tools too, but this will tire us physically and mentally. And the more often we have to work without tools, the more likely we are to cause workplace accidents. Alright, let's do it. What's the ask there? Produce 50 basic tools. I've already got 23. Come on, that's not gonna add to it. It's like storage was a bit of a problem there, eh? Alright, well let's see how distribution actually works over here. Again, this thing does technically have a road connection from that corner, so things will hopefully be moving efficiently. But on the topic of resources being moved, just look at the attention to detail. I love when these games pay attention to things like resources being moved around and how they're being carried and making them more interesting than just little boxes being carried around. Like, look at that, this guy's actually lugging rocks around. That guy was actually lugging a log around, and now he's got an axe to go back, cut some more trees down, etc., etc. Like, it's nice. It's nice. I think so, at least. I think so, at least. In fact, I'd go so far as to say it's a necessity. It's a basic expectation, in my humble opinion, but it's nice. All right, we need more water production. We need more water production. I'm pretty sure consuming tools isn't going to take away from our objective over here. So why don't we go ahead and try after this? Oh, because we need hunting before we can get surveillance. All right, fair enough. Hunting it shall be then. Start research, and that'll allow us to tap into the meat that's available in the radius of this gathering camp as well, right? So I don't mind that. Look at that. Forge is going. You got these guys actually moving ingots around and stuff. You got producing tools over here. I mean, this person's moving crates around, but I think that's acceptable, right? I mean, it's a crate of tools. I'd say that's acceptable. But a lack of recipe. Oh, I see. So what's your rate of production? 14 a day. That's not enough to keep the smith operational at all times. Again, typically I'd be spending a lot more time doing the mathematics involved behind smooth operations of everything. But for the time being, Just want to show as much as I can. You know what, this is a bit of a bottleneck. We've got plenty of iron ore, not enough iron ingots, so let's go ahead and produce more with an additional forge. Can I pop you down over here? Sure, because then what we'll do is we'll place some roads down, connect up to there, and then the next road can go back there if need be. But that should help out, right? That should help out as we're currently researching hunting. How much longer? Not too much. We're almost done, which should then allow us to get this gathering camp gathering once more. But keep in mind, we only have 12 workers available. Separately, water is looking much better now. Excellent. Simple meals looking excellent too. Let's go ahead and chase after meat and leather both. Cool. And once we get to 30 tools, we'll be able to get surveillance researched as well, and we can explore the greater world map. Meanwhile, over here we have statistics if we want to track how things are going. I mean, I'm a sucker for this kind of stuff, so it's great to see how it's all like detailed and outlined and all that good stuff. If I just kept an eye on this, actually, I would have realized my storage situation, but we're fine now and we'll stay fine for quite some time. I'm sure we can see our production rates and things like that as well, and it's all very beautifully represented as well. We can see what people are actually up to, who's left homeless, who's got a home. We can go ahead and locate them too, and yes, we can also seek out all of our buildings, their productivity rates and stuff like that. It's great. It's all very beautifully represented as well. The UI in this game, by the way, is an aesthetic I very much enjoy. The thin line work, the very, like, you know, light backing behind icons and stuff. The icons themselves are quite nice. I'm really quite enamored by the UI, truth be told, and I'm just loving again the representation of data as well. I'm a big data viz nerd, so this kind of stuff just pleases me greatly. And I should just remind you again, folks, if what you're seeing so far pleases you as well, don't hesitate to add the game to your wish list. Again, it does make a very big difference for independent developers especially. So it's a good way to let them know that you're interested. It's a good way to kind of motivate them and cheer them on. And it's a good way to also stay up to date with their actual production and development cycle as well, so that you can pick it up when it eventually drops into early access in Q1 or further down the line, you know, after early access or maybe closer to its 1.0 release, whatever you decide to do. But just want to remind you that, again, wishlisting is a huge game changer for game devs. Beyond that, again, just a reminder, since I'm doing reminders, if you like these kinds of games and you want to stay up to date with more of them, it's a big part of what I do on this channel. Reviews, previews, let's plays, guides, and more besides. And I try to stay on top of upcoming games and stuff like that especially. So if that stuff's interesting to you, you might want to consider subscribing as well. And if you've enjoyed this particular showcase, don't hesitate to hit that like button as we enter our first winter. No dangerous weather events have been observed, but I do believe our sandbox mode over here is pretty soft on us anyway, as the snow has started to fall. Excellent. Down over here, meanwhile, I was taking a look at the windmill because I realized we researched the technology but never actually invested in it, so oops, I suppose. But as the snow is falling, why don't we go ahead and take a look at our surveillance option over here. Start that research, because I do want to take a look at the world map as much as there is to look at in this demo, at least. Vocational training will come next. It'll allow us to actually train craftsmen and specialists, which I'm also curious to investigate just to see what kind of an impact they have on a variety of things. And again, you might have already realized this, but the distribution of resources can be different between your different classes of people. So, you know, if you have priorities in that sense, you're very much able to apply them. Now, are we able to pursue a normal distribution of food and water? We might actually be fine. So let's go for regular and see what that does to us. We might need an additional well, perhaps, but we'll get to that if need be. I mean, I just got to find more hot spots as far as water's concerned, I suppose, right? Again, I assume this well is tapping into both this, and that's why the well down over here wasn't working. Fine by me, but I'm sure there's plenty more available elsewhere. I mean, I shouldn't say I'm sure, because I'm not sure. In fact, I'm kind of nervous at not seeing this icon anywhere else. Is that just because it only shows where we've tapped into it? No, it's because it only shows where we've the selected wells opportunities, right? If I were to build another well, I'm sure I'd see more. So let's go ahead and take a look. Yeah, you can see there's some up over here. If we head on down, oh yeah, there's more over here. There's plenty of water available. Okay, cool. So if need be, we can go ahead and do that, but we've successfully completed our tool production objective. Let's take a look at the result there. A pleasant result. Although it is not a large stock, if we can produce and store at such a pace, and make a habit out of producing at this pace, we can sustain our forward momentum. Excellent. Again, boosting our morale for all classes for 5 days, and that should in turn, if we're at 35, still just short of that 50 marker for normal morale. Because, you know, hypothetically, you could get to a point where the increased morale from a successful task increases the rate of production of goods and stuff and feeds back in. Again, that self-fulfilling prophecy, as I was talking about previously, right? There's a oh, hey, hello. Would you look at that? We're actually... So, I guess the bump there took some time to come through, but we're at 55, making our efficiency 65. So now if we take a look at the same building, we're up at 42 per day. Soup kitchens, 48 a day. Excellent. So we're a little light on mushrooms. It's not good. Oh, not available this season. Fair enough. Hunters. Let's get some hunters over here. Let's get these soup kitchens switching recipes to... How do I switch recipes over here? Pause, unpause, upgrade, destroy. Oh, there we go. Just got to click on this again. Let's make meat soups instead. Cool. For both of you. There you go. All right. At least the simple meals are still coming through. It looks like we could actually build an additional forge because the iron ore is acquired at such a great rate. Alternatively, of course, we can reduce the number of people that are actually gathering the iron ore instead and make us a more normalized flow, I suppose. Though while I'm looking up there, it occurs to me that we can probably distribute more tools than we're doing right now, further helping our morale, further helping our efficiency and all that good stuff, right? We're producing 23 a day now, and 23 a day of ingots as well. You, my good friend, need to be assigned, slipped my mind, and that should help with the throughput. I guess that's why iron ore is still so plentiful. Nonetheless, that's all well and good. Let's go ahead and establish our Scouts Guild now. We need 14 iron ingots. Hopefully, assigning a construction will like automatically set some aside. It'll let the game know to earmark some, right? Let's put the Scouts Guild down over where? Let's keep them somewhere centralized. I feel like that makes sense, right? Pop you down over here, I suppose. That way we have a gap for the road to proceed. And it does look like, yes, it's been... The iron ingots had been set aside. So this is going to get built up soon, and then we can send people out. A group of foreign people has been detected. A flock of refugees, 10 workers this time around, appeared near the edge of our settlement. This group of wanderers, each more unfortunate... Oh, it's the exact same like message here. Fair enough, let's accept them. 10 more workers, sounds good to me. And let's make sure we are providing housing for everyone. We've got enough for 40. We need to build at least 2 more houses, right? So let's go ahead and build a couple of shacks. 1 and 2. That's on me for not remembering to hold shift. And can I actually upgrade any of these? Upgrade next tier? No, we would need glass and wire, I'm assuming. Fair enough, can't afford to do that. What about any of our other buildings? What do these guys take to upgrade? So again, there's more than meets the eye. It's not just like, oh yeah, you put a forge and you're done. No, you'll want to spend time upgrading some of these structures and stuff as well. Some options might not be available in the demo or even in the upcoming early access build, but just taking a peek around to see what is available, though I don't think any of it's actually possible because we don't have all the resources we would need. And if we take a look at Camp Party, we are almost at Era 2. We just need to acquire a bit more knowledge over here, and we'll be able to do it. And it does look like that's not cumulative. You need to have all that on hand at the same time before you can enter the next era. So we're not that far away. Let's keep on it, and let's keep an eye on the Scouts Guild as well. What happened there? That was an accident. But yes, the Scouts Guild can create scout teams out of what? Not included in demo. You got me, game. You got me. I pursued that with such vigor and for no real end result. I'm going to avoid vocational training for the time being because I want to see if the next era is actually available. And here we have refreshment, plus 40 morale to all classes. This year's rains were enough to renew the existing resources in the land. Mushroom, wheat, and water resources renewed. So if we head on over to the gathering camp here, you can see 1,473 mushrooms are once more available at the gathering camp. So again, you know, surviving a full year, making it to the next spring has actually replenished our resources, including the mushrooms, the meat, and the water. So it lets us know what systems are in place and we can wonder about how that's extended to other elements and aspects of the game, as we see a hunter over here bringing back their game. It's just so nice to have these little details. It could just as easily have been a slab of meat, which is easier to kind of model and animate. It could have just as easily been a box, a nondescript box with a different color denoting what they're carrying. But no, it's an animal on their back, swinging around. I love it. Anyways, a new era. The new era. Era 2. Buildings and resources that are available in the new era. A tavern, a smelter, a kiln, a pit, a tailor, a basic mine, residences, storehouses, and resource camps. And resources, you can see copper ingot, bronze ingot, wire, clay, brick, clothes, copper ore, coal, sand, and glass. So quite a bit is actually made available, and we have access to the next line of technology. Okay, so this is Era 1, this is Era 2, this is Era 3, and there's obviously an Era 4 all the way at the top over here that's not yet on this screen. Very well. What do we have? Insulated furnaces for smelters, copper ingot, bronze ingots, and wire. It'll take some time for us to get to that. We've got mine surveying over here. All right. That'll take us quite a bit of time to get to that as well. And divided layers. Fair enough, fair enough. Adaptation and sustainability. Ooh, well, this is curious. Oh, all right. You know what? Throw aside what I said about the layers here. Because over here, Era 2 hasn't unlocked or revealed anything. Now, that might just be because it's the demo, or who knows. But it has made weaving available, for which we'd need paper. And that is only available if we research vocational training. Curious about community needs over here? A tavern to entertain the folks? It's Camp Party. Let's go ahead and research community needs so we can get a tavern built. And then we can pursue vocational training. Because, an education is important too. But let's chase the tavern first. We've got housing for almost everybody, or actually everybody now, I think. 100% means 10 morale. Morale's actually looking very good, quite, mechanically speaking as well, so that's great. How's food looking? Decent supply, okay. How's water looking? That's a little bit tighter. We're okay for the time being. We'll keep an eye on the fluctuation, I suppose. But that tells me that food distribution can be taken up to extra, and that would take us to 5 additional morale, which would take us to 85, which would take us to nothing. We'd still be here until we hit 100 morale. It's only when we hit 100 plus that we get to great morale and the next bump. But hey, if we can feed our people, let's feed our people, right? Cool. All right, day 62 already. Is spring of year 2 still. Things are looking all right. Things are looking quite all right. How is our tech progress going? It's okay. Speed time up a little bit further, and why don't we go ahead and build this road out over here, just as a reminder, and why don't we go ahead and place a tavern over here somewhere. So I'm going to want to, I can't actually pause and build at the same time. I wanted to place some houses down over here, basically create something symmetrical. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, yeah, so 1, 2, 3 is another house, right? Just to check here. No, I need one more step. Why did that last one not build? Weird. Did that build this time? Still didn't build. Okay. Should be able to do that. And I should be able to do this. And then let's check to make sure that the shacks fit in there. They do indeed. Cool. Can I get this dusty road connected? No, I can't. Why are you being so strange to me, game? Let's destroy you. There we go. Perfect. And it looks like you can upgrade your roads as well, eh? Doesn't say anything here, but the option's there, so I'm curious if it's something locked behind the demo. Nonetheless, let's go ahead and place our tavern here. I suppose you could call that a utility. Build that over here. It's got a bit of a radius. Kind of covers everybody. Oh, you know what? Actually, it does cover everybody. So, sure, let's go ahead and pop you down over there and entertain the people. As up over here, we can chase after vocational training, I suppose. Start that research. Excellent. And quite a few of these are, of course, waiting for things like structural statics. That's a lot of required knowledge as well. All right, very well. Very well. Doing okay. Anything else I want to chase after? Windmills. Sure, why don't we go ahead and get a windmill down? These guys have been built up. We got some wind out over there, right behind the tavern, just to make sure it never runs out of power. You know what? It makes sense to me. and it actually, in its radius, includes all of these residences. Let's pop you down over there. Do you actually need power, though? It doesn't say anything on here. Well, it says something up here. All right, well, let's see what happens when we get the windmill up and running. But it looks like the tavern is up and running, and it's able to cover all of these houses. That's great to see, and you can see their entertainment is being taken care of. What does that mean for morale? It means a little bit of a boost. Cool. This is a problem. Why did it drop? Oh, you know what? Some of the benefits have probably gone off. Fair enough. No power. Well, trying to fix that right now. What do we have up over here? Spring. Current seasonal conditions do not have any positive or negative effects on our camp. Same thing applies in the summer. Again, remember, we're playing the sandbox mode. We're in the meadow, so things are relatively simplified. I'm sure the full game will have more expectations of the player. Let's go ahead and build a technical boot camp. I assume that will fall under... Actually, I don't know. Other? No. Utilities? Sure, of course. I should remember that. Technical boot camp can be placed where? I suppose that's more of an operations thing, so we could have it close to the center over here where we have our scout camp and stuff as well. Next to the soup kitchen. Yeah, sure. Again, typically I'd be a lot more thorough about my city planning and stuff, but I figure I more want to just show the variety as opposed to fuss over which grid space something takes. Paper need. Using text effectively. Let's check it out. We've made rapid progress, Chief. Knowledge will gain more importance after these stages. As a community, we need to better produce and share knowledge into systemic methods. This path begins with processing paper. Let's start. Get to it. And I do believe the technical boot camp is the one responsible for doing exactly that. Let's go ahead and research something else. The structural statics will require some paper, so we can't do that. And I do believe everything else is beholden to it. No, stable routes for a resource camp. That needs some oh, you know what? Yeah, okay, everything needs paper at this point, including weaving. So we're gonna have to produce some paper. This thing's almost done being built. School. Fair enough. Let's go ahead and do what? Start education. So how do we do this? So it'll cost paper and basic tools. So hang on a second. Production. Who makes our paper? Who makes our paper? Let's head on over to our knowledge screen just to take a look over here. And to find vocational trade. Oh, you know, right. Sorry, that's on me. It's the lumber mill. It's not a new building. It's a lumber mill. So let's go ahead and build an additional lumber mill. Pop you down over there. And let's get this one working on paper. And this one will work on lumber. I just want to get paper produced so I can make some progress on this front with regards to the technical boot camp, because I really want to know what difference it makes, you know, having a crafter or a craftsman versus just a worker. We need 800 paper to train all of them. Okay, that's going to take some time to collect. There's 200. Let's go ahead and start the education here. And see what, having at least one craftsman does. What kind of requirements they have, what kind of potential they represent, so on and so forth. Let's go ahead and expand our dusty road over here. Look at that. Things are coming along. Things are coming along okay. We've produced 354 paper. We'll definitely succeed with this objective. And up over here, it looks like all warehouses are almost full again. All right, let's go ahead and place another stockpile down over here. Resources are maybe a little too plentiful. This is maybe a little too easy. Though maybe I'm speaking too soon as well. Let's take a look at this objective first. Paper is an important contribution for new technological developments and other needs. We must not forget to keep sufficient stock at the ready. Sounds good. Again, a boost to morale. Meanwhile, education here has been completed. Results already. None of the members succeeded in education. Oh, okay. Fair enough. What a waste of resources. Let's go again as this storm rolls through. My goodness. No dangerous weather events observed. Meanwhile, sandstorm. Every activity, machine, and living being has slowed down. Oh, this is hefty. This is a mighty storm. Some of our planet's atmospheric layers took further damage throughout the last 25 years, resulting in unpredictable changes in our weather cycles. We've been witnessing colossal sandstorms for years. Strangely, however, we've recently observed horrific electrical discharges alongside the wind and sand. Throughout sandstorms, which can last from a couple of hours up to several days, every activity, machine, and living being has to slow down. In fact, We would be lucky not to lose the roofs over our heads. This phenomenon negatively affects the output of the workforce, as well as damaging buildings in some cases. Though sandstorms are unpredictable, they usually occur near the beginnings of summer, and summers of drought may bring about stronger storms. Alright, neat, interesting. I like that. I like that. I like seeing weather conditions being played with like that. It makes it a bit more interesting than just, it's winter. You might see more snow. There will be a blizzard. It will be cold. Now, I want to be very clear. That was not a dig at Frostpunk. Frostpunk is one of my favorite games, and the way that handles blizzards and snowstorms and colds is immaculate. So don't take my statement there the wrong way. But it's the dead of winter here in Toronto, and criticizing the response to a blizzard is the one that comes to mind most easily. Is this the second sandstorm? I think this is the second sandstorm rolling through. My goodness. Really trying to get in my way. Please succeed with your education. I believe in you. Come on. God damn. Really? Nothing. Nothing. Okay, what if we try 2 people? 400 paper. We're just short. In a moment's time, we'll have enough. And any day now. There we go. Start education. I just want some crafters. I just want some crafters. Separately, I suppose we could chase after, well, some of this stuff as paper accumulates. A lot has been wasted in trying to educate people, but hey, it is what it is. Meanwhile, over here, we haven't even checked out clothes, health, or security. We talked about security a bit, I thought, one of the events that came up, but no actual progress on that front. Are these storms going to last the entire summer? Because that's what it looks like. And yeah, I mean, not only do they affect productivity, but they actually affect, like, your visibility and stuff as well. Look at the trees responding to the storm. That's really cool. Oh, that's really intense. Nice. Okay, please tell me someone succeeded. Oh, that's got to be limited by the demo, right? That's got to be limited by the demo or something. How can I have that much bad luck? That many bad back-to-back dice rolls. I mean, truth be told, if it were to happen to anybody, it would be me. I always have really garbage luck at that stuff. But, what are the chances? Pretty high, apparently. Ooh, hang on a second. What's going on at this windmill? 76 constant power being brought through. We're at -9 electricity. If I pop another windmill down right over here, again, a little bit further over might be better because the wind is a bit higher over there, but let's go ahead and pop one down over here and see what that does for electricity and what that does, if anything, for any of our other elements here. I don't think it'll actually do anything, but I'm curious, as we have another flock of immigrants appearing at the border. 9 additional workers. Ooh. This... Oh, you know what? It's still the same. I thought it read a little differently, but it's still the same. Yeah, let's accept them. A little bit of homelessness now. That's okay. It's not the end of the world. We'll go ahead and add some more houses if necessary. In fact, we left room for exactly that. We can pop a couple of shacks down there, and there you go. Everyone's got a home. In fact, I think that was overkill. No, we need 7. Yeah, that was overkill. I didn't need that last one there, but hey, take a look at that. Electricity is now readily available. We have a bit of a surplus as well. I don't know what difference that actually makes, but at least people aren't complaining about a lack of power or anything anymore, right? And none of these buildings actually... Didn't mean to click on you. Ooh. Oh, hey, hello. Glad I clicked on this. We can actually add some advisors now that we've entered the second era. We can add some advisors. Can we get to era 3? Oh, maybe we can, even in the demo. It's highlighted now, and the tech tree certainly implies it. But I digress. Let's take a look at our available advisors here. We've got the Naturalist, increasing the efficiency for farms, allowing us to pursue the action of early harvest if we ever feel the need to, bring food in sooner than it's otherwise available. The Smelter increases efficiency for all tool production. The Foreman improves workforce for all gather jobs and allows us to have access to the rush hour action. Great movies, those. Welder and Engineer requires us to have Craftsmen as part of our population. If we go further down, the Sawyer over here is a worker, but unavailable for some reason. And then we've got the Blacksmith, also a Craftsman, and a Blacksmith, but of the worker variety. Interesting, interesting. Still under development, some bonuses do not take effect yet. Okay, so that might be why these guys are all grayed out. Let's go ahead and get ourselves a Foreman and a Smelter. Why not? We got them available, and let's assign them. unending preparation. We must be ready. Chief, the continuation of our life here must be based on preparedness as well as sustaining life. One of the most important lessons of the last 50 years has been that we cannot trust the seasons. The inconsistency of the atmosphere can breed hellish heat waves and Siberian colds in any geography. This state has only worsened with time. It would be foolish to expect it to get better from here. We need to stock up on our essential needs, at the very least on fuel, food, and water. This will help us cope with the extreme seasonal cycles as well as whatever else pushes us to contention. Though we can't prepare for everything, we can try and secure our current well-being. Stock 3,000 water and 12,000 of simple meal. I mean, we can certainly try, though whether we do or do not will be determined by you in the comments. Because folks, this is actually where we're going to go ahead and end our preview of the demo. If you like what you see, again, don't hesitate to wishlist the game to stay up to date with it. It's releasing into early access in Q1. If you want to see more great games like this highlighted in your life, you might want to consider subscribing to the channel. If you had a good time today, don't hesitate to hit that like button either. Let me know in the comments down below if you would actually like to see the next era on display as well. I could very much go back in and develop our settlement and introduce the next era in a separate video, releasing later on this week or perhaps next when there's some time available. But yeah, that depends entirely on what you say in the comments, so feel free to let me know. And if you enjoyed this game, if you enjoyed this spotlight and you'd like to see more like it, let me know down below as well. Folks, as always, a massive thanks goes out to all of the channel members and patrons who've been supporting the channel on a monthly basis. They'll keep us alive and running smoothly. And of course, a big old thanks goes out to each and every one of you for watching. Until next time, cheers.